Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to another VCO Esports Studio with myself, Ben Constanduros. And as you well know, as we've moved into September, the esports world has got incredibly exciting once more. I apologize, firstly, for my forest look this evening. Not at home, not in the office. I also forgot my VCO top. So that is a disappointment, especially the first time ever, over 50 episodes. And probably tonight we have the biggest guest that we've ever had on VCO Esports Studio. A man I have a huge amount of respect for, and a man who has recently announced the second edition of the Le Mans Virtual Championship this year. Gérard Neveu joins us all the way from the south of France, as beautiful there as it is in Greece. Nice to have you with us, Gérard.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to see you, Ben. Thank you very much for these very kind words. Very happy to see you again and to be ready to start this season. And you are welcome in the south of France. I was, to be honest with you, last week in Silverstone with all the fantastic team we have to prepare the season. Weather was not exactly the same, so I'm taking some energy with the sunshine. We're ready to start the season in a few days.
You had such a massive challenge, Gérard, because the Le Mans 24 Virtual from last year was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, I think. It won so many awards. It was so highly regarded in the virtual world, but also in the real world. So to follow it on is a huge challenge.
You're absolutely right. And I remember also the VCO award. That was a big honor for us to receive from this major entertainment company in sim racing. But I have to say that we never feel the pressure like this. We just consider that we have made something very interesting last year, and we have to explore and to continue to work and to develop this approach of sim racing. And I will say more about entertainment, because we are speaking about pro series at this moment. Never forget that for motorsport games, the final target is to deliver a proper e-game in 23. But in between, we have to maintain the community and the interest around this huge program. And we will try to do our best, not really to duplicate, because the conditions are totally different this year. You don't have the lockdown in most of the part of the world, and the situation is changing a lot. But you still have the passion for sim racing and the passion for Le Mans. So there is no reason that we cannot deliver something very spectacular again.
What were the key elements that you needed to take from last year's event and bring into this year's championship? What were the plus points that you wanted to use to make this so very unique as it was the year before?
This is a very good question. We will keep exactly what we felt was totally different. I mean, for example, the chance to have on the same simulator both the pro e-gamers and the pro e-racer. So we put the gamers and the racer together, and they share the same simulator, same with the esports team and the race team. So they are together, following exactly the same sporting regulation. So that's one key element. We put these two worlds together to try to create something very spectacular and very helpful regarding the quality and regarding the excitement for the followers. The second thing we'll try to do is to, with all our team from motorsport games in UK, is to try to deliver a very spectacular entertainment bycast way. I mean that we will play with the graphics, with the timekeeping, with the quality of the picture. We are working, as you know very well, because Studio 397 is now a part of motorsport games. So we are working with all the teams from Air Factor 2 to try to do a very nice quality of picture as they are doing usually. But we will develop more and more and more. And we will try to do something, I will say, like a pure entertainment, to make sure that if you follow this race, you will really enjoy.
So in the regulations, I think you actually have stated that there must be an FIA real world license holder as part of each of the team. Is that apply across the whole championship, or is that just simply for the 24-hour race season?
No, it's for the full championship. What we do for the why we do this championship is a good question. It's because first of all, we have the feeling that there is really a platform, there is really a stage to host this event, not only for one race but for few races. And as we are doing now a very important pool prize money, as you know, as we have only pro team, we have considered that it is important to provide the right stage. So in order to have few tests before, we will have 4 races to hot the system, to warm up the system, and to be ready for the big one in January. So the idea is to have 1 race per month from September, with different formats. So we'll have 4 hours in Monza in September, 6 hours in Spa in October, 8 hours in Nürburgring, but with the Nordschleifen, which will be very funny, in November. Very exciting for the drivers and the gamers. And we will have finally 4 hours in Sebring in December. So 4 tracks with a huge DNA regarding the sports car and the endurance. Then we will have the big one in January in Birmingham, for the 24 hours Le Mans Virtual on live inside the huge event of the Autosport Show International in Birmingham. So that's the idea. So the concept is just to say that we keep exactly the same setup. The only difference is for the regular season from September to December, you will have 38 cars that we will reveal tomorrow, with exactly the same style of lineup. Then for Le Mans Virtual, you will have 20 additional cars to complete the grid. Exactly similar things that you can have with the FIA World Endurance Championship and the Le Mans 24 Hours.
One thing I wanted to mention about your calendar, because as you say, it replicates what we see in the World Endurance Championship, except for one thing, the Nordschleife. Is that because in the real world, you would never be able to do a WEC race at the Nordschleife, but the virtual gives you these opportunities?
You know, I'm not the guy coming from the virtual. I discovered the virtual since few years, because I had around me many people in the staff who say, look at this. This is so spectacular. And now with the people from Motorsport Games, I have the chance to work with the very talented people and to meet some other people from this world. And the big advantage of the virtual is not here to compete against the real. Is not here to replace the real. Is here to complete and not to compete. To complete and to be an additional program for the real motorsport. And yet there is something you can do with the virtual that is impossible to do with the real. The Nordschleifen is a good example. This is the track that all drivers love to practice, because this is an amazing track. In the real world, it would be impossible to put the hypercar in the between with the LMP2 and the GT, or it would be very challenging, I have to say. So, so we can do it in virtual. We will try to do it. I think we have to use also the virtual to try something that is not always very possible or automatically possible in the real life, but keeping the spirit of the endurance. Because one more time, this is exactly the same world, the same community, the same people, the same interest, the same passion. So we have to respect the both world. But if we can try sometimes different things like this, we will be very happy to do it. That's also the reason why we can go to Sebring. There is no travel ban in virtual, so we can do Sebring this year, which was impossible in the real world.
Yeah, and fingers crossed WEC have a chance to go back there to start their championship next year.
Sure.
In terms of the 24-hour race at the climax of the championship, something that you introduced into WEC a few years ago, climaxing at Le Mans, which has not been possible the last couple of years. The virtual climax in January, will that have as many teams as you can possibly get on site? Is that the concept and the idea?
We will keep the possibility. It will be technically impossible to host the 52 or 55 cars that we will have for the race on site. Too difficult to do it. But and honestly, it will be not realistic. And some teams will say that this is not good for them because they are located in different parts. But the idea is to have you will see the announcement tomorrow about the grid. It's very spectacular. I can tell you in advance now for VCO. That clearly we have a spectacular grid for the regular season with 38 cars and with the top esports team and WC team involved. So that's really interesting. And we already have some very famous racer names inside and the best gamers participating, which is for us very interesting. But the additional grid in January will host few very famous name. I'm thinking, for example, with Formula One drivers who are very busy at this moment of the year, but they will be available in mid of January, and some of them will probably attend in live the event in Birmingham. And the idea is to have a few of these races. I don't know if it's 10, 15, 20, but to have a part of this race on stage in live. And you know very well how this is organizing, because you have been and you will be probably one of the talent making the commentatory of this event. And the idea is to have the TV studio on live in the hall one of the Birmingham event at the ASI, and to have some of the cars on stage, so the fan will be able to attend and to follow the race and to feel the atmosphere of the studio or the TV studio with some of the competitors on side, some other on screen, and to have also the race control room on side. So you will be like inside the events, but with some of the competitors driving from the other side of the world, of course. That's the interest of the virtual and the online, combined on-site online events.
It's going to be very spectacular. How important was it to have that kind of setup for the 24-hour race, replicating what you did in lockdown in Paris what was that, 2 years ago now?
It will have a little bit different. We will set up another TV studio, but technically the backup is very similar with a van and everything like this. The idea is to make sure that all the fans will be able to follow the regular season on all the different digital platforms. Then for Le Mans Virtual, hopefully we could have additional linear TV broadcast, interesting at this moment of the year by this event, because this is the special one. But I will say that for the rest of the setup, it will be adapted by the fact that we are hosting many fans inside, and we have to consider that in Paris last year when we did the Le Mans Virtual, as you said, it was locked down. It was in the purely TV studio with a very limited people having the chance to attend the event. This year, in January next year, at the ASI, it will be exactly the opposite. We will look to receive a huge number of visitors. I remind you that for the auto show, normally we have a chance to welcome on 2-3 days more than 80,000 people. So maybe we'll have a chance to have a few thousand staying in front of the stage during the race, which will be very spectacular.
And you mentioned Formula One drivers. We had 5 Formula One drivers in the first Le Mans Virtual. How important is it to try and attract those big names of the sport to help you get a larger audience as possible, both on broadcast and right there in the studio?
It's massive for many reasons. First of all, because we have very fantastic drivers already in sports car in endurance, but this is from the same community of Le Mans. When you have people like Fernando Alonso, for example, or Charles Leclerc attending the virtual event, it brings you suddenly another visibility on the world community of the fan from motorsports. And for me, people like Fernando is a legendary driver. He has an incredible career. He's making the show every weekend during the Formula One. He did again yesterday in Zandvoort. And he's doing always something like this. And I have to say that when these drivers are racing or participating to a virtual event like Le Mans Virtual, they have exactly the same spirit. They're trying to make the show. They compete like competitors. So this is a big add value for the quality of the grid, but also for the value of the grid and also for the visibility of the grid. I remind you that last year we had the chance to have people like Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Charles Leclerc. If we can have the same grid this year in January, on live or not, doesn't matter. I mean, on site or not, this is not the key point. But participating to the race, this is definitely a big add value, because this is a grid that you can create in virtual, and which is difficult to do it on the real for all the reasons availabilities, already contract and commitments they have. So when you're racing in Formula One, it's difficult to participate to Le Mans at the same time. You can do it in your career, but not at the same time. In this proper case, this is possible. Same with the American drivers from NASCAR, from IndyCar. Last year, we had few of them in IndyCar, like Simon Pagenaud, for example. I hope that we will have the same this year in January, which will be a big add value, because with all these drivers, we have an access to so many other fans, and the final target is just to create a big virtual event to celebrate with all the fans all around the world. That's the idea.
And something you did incredibly well in the first version of Le Mans Virtual was bring the real Le Mans into that virtual environment and add certain things, the sound effects of the grid build-up, which is so iconic to Le Mans, the flag waving, the French tricolor waving at the start of the race virtually, even a concert. How many things of those elements will you bring back again, bearing in mind we're in Birmingham rather than in Paris or in France at all?
So we will try to do something very similar for Le Mans in Birmingham also. My only problem at this moment is how I will put the blimp inside the hall number 1 of Birmingham exhibition venue. But we will organize for sure something very spectacular. And for the race in between, we will try to organize also more than a race, an entertainment event, virtual event. So that's the idea. So we would like to see, for example, for the start of the race, it cannot be like Le Mans because it's a short race for 4 hours, so you don't have 40 or 24 hours for no space for a concert and difficult to set up for this sort of race. But we will try to do something that, if you are just sitting down in front of your computer or your TV screen, that you will say, "Wow, I love this. This is so funny," and we will try to play with a lot of interactivity. For example, there is no better actors than the participant to the race. I mean, the drivers and the gamers. And we have this chance to have a picture of them in each simulators, that we have also the chance to have the filming of the backstage. Just to give you an idea, we will have the same race direction, for example, with Eduardo and Ben. Eduardo Freitas and Ben Rossiter Turner, the 2 race directors that we have for this sort of event. I hope that when they will have to take a decision, we will be able to share this picture with the people, that you will have more than not only the sound, but also the image, and that when you will follow the race, you will follow really a great entertainment with, at the end, a great fighting with simulators on track. That's the idea.
Gérard, you've done some amazing things in your career. You left the WEC in such an incredible health that now is developing every single week. It seems a new manufacturer is going to be joining the series in 23, 24. How proud are you of what you've managed to achieve so far in the gaming world that you've kind of grown into, as it were? And how excited are you personally for this new chapter?
Okay, there is no reason to be proud, to be honest. I had the chance to arrive at the WC at the right time to restart this championship in 2011. That we start in 2012, but we had to work in advance. So and I had a chance to work with a fantastic team during the last 10 years to try to grow up, to develop, and to install this championship for the long term with the people from ACO and FIA. And after 10 years, I think that this is good to say, okay, I'll let the floor to another one, because this is like if you say, if you consider, for example, for a coach in the football team, after 10 years, you have to change. And it's good to let the floor to another one who will be more creative or bring some new idea. On the same time, I had this incredible chance to receive a call from Mike Zoy and from Motorsport Games to say, are you ready to join the team? Because following what we did together for Le Mans Virtual, we would like to work and to develop. So if I can bring a very small add value regarding my knowledge with the motorsport or my connection with them, it will be my pleasure. And today, I have this incredible chance to work with a fantastic team. It's difficult to give you all the name here, but I'm thinking about Ben, Darren, Lewis, all the guys located in between the Motorsport Games place in USA or in America, in England. And we are starting to create a new story. Maybe we open a new chapter. And I discover so many different things. For example, now we are working to deliver a proper e-game in NASCAR that will be delivered next October, but in IndyCar or in Le Mans also in 2 years, 1 year and a half. And this is so exciting. And I discover so different people who has an incredible passion. They are working like crazy hell to do something very spectacular. And at the end, these people, they share the same passion for the motorsport and to make happy the fan or the people using these different games. So this is something very parallel, a different stage, but something very, very interesting to do now. And I feel young to be with all these young people around me. Trust me, I have no choice, to be honest.
That's exactly what my father says, age 75, still going to all the Formula One races to be able to stay young and feel young. Does it surprise you that from a man who started waving a flag at Paul Ricard to the general manager of the track, and then all of your career, that you found yourself so passionate about computer games?
No, that's the evolution, and that's the way the world is going now. And if you say, "Oh, we have no interest for the esport," this is a huge mistake. And I think that esport is also a great opportunity for motorsport, for the real motorsport, to extend its visibility, to extend its accessibility to so different people. Because you know that today, for example, we speak about the gamers and the people who love to play esport, but we have also all the drivers that are spending such a lot of time in sim racing. And when we speak about R Factor 2, Studio 397, and the Le Mans Virtual, we speak about sim racing first. And this is really the same community. So this is very interesting. This is the way the world and the story will go forward in motorsport, and we have to be prepared for this. We have to be ready for this new stage, and there is so many things to create. So if you don't consider this like a new part of the motorsport, I think you're wrong. You have to do it. And one more time, I heard so many times the people trying to oppose it and to say, this is wrong, this is not the real world, I prefer the sound of the track. This is two different things, and this is two additional things. So we have to consider both together. And not all the people have the chance to attend the circuit or to try to drive a car. This is something still very selective. With the sim racing or with the e-games, they can do it more easily, and this is a chance to grow up the audience. And I think that this is very important to have always a bigger community to follow you. This is the only way to survive in this new world.
Motorsport games must be growing hugely. As you said just earlier, you've got so many titles to look after, as well as the esports side. It must be a great pleasure to kind of help build all that expertise to create a game for IndyCar, a game for NASCAR, a game for British touring cars, and also for Le Mans as well.
Yeah, this is correct to say about Motorsport Games, which is a huge company with a great visibility and a part of media company from motorsport. So there is a real ecosystem. There's not only people focusing on the games. This is for people at the beginning focusing on motorsport. So they have now created a sort of community, attending the website, following the Motorsport Network, following Motorsport TV, buying tickets with Motorsport. And we try to put all the expertise together to increase and to create a real value about the product we are delivering. On the same time, I have to say that this is like in motorsport. The e-sport and the e-games is like a small world. So we have a chance. You are making an interview for VCO, for example. All this company like VCO, but I'm thinking about the company delivering the parts of the simulators, or the other company promoting the e-sport event. All of them are working in the same direction, and when you share this platform with these people, you meet very interesting people who has a great vision about the future, and there is so many things to do together. Le Mans has to be part of this, but we have to do it all together, and this is really the plan. This is to try to extend our stage and to try to making progress every time, and to try to deliver better and better product for all our clients. And we consider the fans like clients, so we have to get them satisfaction first.
Thank you very much for all your words, Gérard, because I know that everybody listening will be so excited about different elements that you said, whether they're esports competitors, whether they're fans of Le Mans, whether they're fans of IndyCar. Oh, there's another thing.
Yeah, this is a big challenge, definitely. But the only thing I can guarantee you, 120%, we will do our best, and we will spend a huge energy to try to deliver something spectacular. That's really the idea.
But I think that's clear from the words that you're saying, the enthusiasm that you're speaking with. It's clear that if you're anywhere close to the top of the chain and organising this, your energy and your passion will filter through to everybody else. They will bring it to you, and it'll be just as spectacular as the Le Mans Virtual #1. That's clear.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup to Gérard Neveu joining us, Motorsport Advisor to Motorsport Games, with so many projects, but of course talking specifically about Le Mans Virtual, the second edition, a 5-round championship culminating in January with the 24 hours of Le Mans hosted at the Autosport International in Birmingham. I hope that's given you a little bit more insight of what they have planned, and really a huge thank you to everyone at Motorsport Games for allowing and Gérard himself to come on and join us today. Obviously, keep in touch with VCO every Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock. We'll have a new guest, a new episode. And until then, enjoy your sim racing.